Clare Scherrer joins us now, the CFO of Smiths Group. Clare, thank you very much for joining us. Just looking into some of the revenue numbers, there is a slowdown on the organic and the headline revenue numbers from the same time a year ago, even if the numbers are still solid, what's up to the tune that you're seeing in that first level of 5.4% on the organic line, 16.8% on the headline. Just walk us through the slowdown, though, that you're seeing versus 12 months ago.
Thank you. Well, we are reporting a great set of results today. As you said, 5.4% organic revenue growth, 8.3% EPS growth, and that's on top of last year's record ever growth. As you mentioned, we're also announcing 2 acquisitions in North America, which will expand our geographic presence and our product breadth. And finally, we're entering FY25 on a confident foot. We're guiding for further growth and also further margin expansion.
Clare, what's changed? Yeah, what's changed here, though? Because this time a year ago, you were talking about how innovation was adding more than 300 basis points to the group numbers. This year, it seems like you're talking about acquisitions, that you're buying your way to growth. Is there a subtle difference here?
Firstly, innovation is the lifeblood of Smiths. And when you look at the growth that we reported today, 200 basis points of our growth is from new products that we've introduced over the last 5 years. And we have a terrific pipeline of that innovation commercializing as we go forward. CT, next generation airport scanners, getting rolled out across the world. Energy efficiency, 125 carbon capture and hydrogen projects that we're actively pursuing. And then second, in terms of buying our way to growth, absolutely not. The 5.4% that we reported and the positive guide that we've given for next year is on organic growth. So the acquisitions that we're making is on top of that. It's additive.
Clare, actually, I was going to ask you something completely different. You mentioned scanners, so I've got to ask you, what's going on? Why have I not got the latest generation of Smith scanners when I go through the airport, making my life easier? There's just delay after delay. What's going on, Clare?
Well, we're looking forward to making your life easier, Steve. So we, of course, work closely with our regulators around the world. We're regulated by a number of national and international regulators to very demanding standards. And we're working with them closely, and we're also working with the airports as they make sure their infrastructure is ready and their people are ready to roll out our scanners. As you know, Steve, they have 3 benefits. One is greater safety. The second is greater efficiency, because if you don't have to take out your liquids and your laptops, you can move through more quickly. And of course, the last one is convenience, because you can begin to bring through larger liquids. So the rollout is only about 45% of the way through for the total market that we expect. We're winning more than 50%, and we think this is a tailwind that we'll have for the next roughly 3 years.
Yeah, it's that eternal question. Do you have to take off your Garmin or not? It's plastic. Anyway, let's move on, Clare. Back to the real questions. I love the history of your company. I used to speak to Mr. Keel about this quite a lot as well. But one thing is clear about the history of Smiths, and it's a seriously old British engineering company. It's evolved aggressively over the years. It's kept reinventing itself. Are you happy with the balance at the moment? We know that you've got John Crane, detection, we just talked about, FlexTech and Smiths Interconnect as well. Is that the right portfolio for the 21st century?
Steve, we really like our portfolio. Each and every one of our businesses exposes us to secular trends, making the world safer, more energy efficient, and better connected. And so we really like the exposures that we have. And within each of our businesses, we have organic and inorganic paths to growth and shareholder value creation.
I think you and Karen briefly mentioned, or Karen mentioned briefly about the acquisitions. And I think it was 2 North American companies you guys mentioned as well. I have this theory, it's based on fact, unfortunately, that the US is powering ahead when it comes to 21st century technologies, attracting capital, whether it be the IRA or the CHIPS Act as well, and just trying to make sure it's fit to compete with China, the Middle East and other great growth areas. I'm seriously worried about the European growth trajectory, and that includes the United Kingdom. Are you as concerned, Clare?
Well, 2 things I would say. When we look at our growth in Europe for FY24, it was very good. So we have not followed the trend of the PMI data that came out yesterday. And that's because what we were just talking about, which is that the exposures we have are to sectors which have very good secular growth tailwinds. So obviously we read the same data that you do, but we have dislocated from that and are outperforming the European trends. In terms of the acquisitions in North America, one of them will expand our presence in North America, just making sure we have a wider geographic footprint. The other one is an interesting set of technologies that complement the technologies that we already have in electric industrial heat, which for us is really interesting as the world looks forward to decarbonizing hard-to-abate processes.
Claire, I want to give you a chance to talk about the space race and what your ambitions are here, because you're involved in the Ariane rocket, space rocket, key components, critical components here. It feels like the space race is still on, just some of the players have changed. So talk to us about your involvement here and what the ambitions are.
Thanks, Karen, for the question. So we're so proud that 3 of our businesses supported the Ariane 6 spacecraft. So we provided kit that was important to the propulsion system, the conditioning system, and also, most importantly, the communication system. And so it just goes to show that at Smiths, we're still innovating. We're proud of our heritage, but we've got a lot of innovation that's setting us up for the future. And the space race is a great example of that.
Claire, as a CFO looking at day-to-day business on the ground here with the real outcomes required, you know, and you compare that to space, for many years, many thought it was a very expensive vanity project. How has that changed in 2024?
Well, we have a range of customers from the European Space Agency to a variety of commercial customers, and we have seen really strong growth in satellites, in low Earth orbit satellites. And so our products that we make in our interconnect division are highly customized. They have to perform reliably in very harsh environments. And so for us, it is a good commercial proposition because we're bringing the technology that our customers need and the performance that they require in such demanding environments. If you think about it, there couldn't be a more demanding environment than space, and where you can't afford to have a component malfunction.
Claire, great to catch up with you today. Fascinating story, not just in the numbers today. Thank you so much. Clare Scherrer with us, CFO of Smiths Group.